everybody, it's Jay Victoria. How are you? Might be a bit noisy in New York City. So I have a really cool story to tell you because, I know like so many people here, like what we're all looking for is like our lives to get better, right? So if that's you, keep watching. And it's just funny how we think about spirituality. I've seen a lot of posts in the past couple days of people talking about things that are in the feminine realm in a really negative way. And I want you to know this is an attack on the feminine. It's an attack on energy. And the energy world is not any more evil than the physical world, you know? So people saying things about yoga being evil, it's like, no, it's not. It's like that's, it's based in energetic principles, also physical exercise. It's very peaceful. And the only real evil that there ever is separation from God, truly. God created everything. God created yoga. God created the chakras. God created sex. God created food. We can turn anything into a negative, right? Anything, right? If you separate it from God, who is love. And what is that separation? It's fear, negative energy. And that's when we become addicted to things or we become dependent on things and we shut God out. So I think what people are trying to say are things like, God is important. Of course, yes, we can say that God's important, but we don't say God's important and we're not going to take medicine, right? Medicine's good for us. Yoga's also good for us. So it's the separation from God that is the definition of evil. And the irony is that people think that, or they don't realize that religion can also be separate from God. You can call yourself really religious and even really spiritual and not be whatsoever connected to God, who again is love. The word God is synonymous with love. So that's why a lot of people who are religious are not necessarily good people. That's not what God's like. God's love. So are you connected to love? Today I was actually at church for 3 hours in this Catholic church on 30th Street, St. John and Our Lady of Perpetual Help. It was this beautiful church, 170 years old, that I discovered. And I grew up Catholic. I'm still very Catholic. I know part of my job is to bring understanding, because from the way I see it, it's not about separating things. It's about bringing them together. So you can work with energy and you can be a Christian. Of course you can. And God's the one who showed me that. I didn't even really understand that until he was the one who taught me how to work with energy. So, being there at Mass today, I went to confession, I went to Mass, I prayed the Rosary, I prayed the Divine Mercy Chaplet, which is one of my favorite prayers that you can look up. It's so powerful. And the homily that the priest gave was about exactly what we're talking about right now. It's in the Bible, it says Jesus used the parable of a vine, with branches. And he said it's like God is the main vine and we're the branches. So we can only produce fruit, like the grapes, if we're connected to the vine, which is God, which is love. And so that's why, even in business, this is a really important point. When you do things with love, things work out. And I've noticed this even with my business in the past few weeks, really learning how to teach myself how to work with my own energy, how to do and find what works for me. And no coach was really saying those words, and I really needed to hear them. And that's why I'm sharing them with you really straightforward. Like, if you do something with love, you're going to be successful. And there are other things you need to do, of course, but if you're missing that, it's like you're cut off from the life force, And you think of a branch disconnected from the main vine, of course it can't produce fruit. So we can take anything in life and we can disconnect it from God, who is love. And that thing can become what we call evil or separated. And you can do that again, even with religion. You know, there are a lot of priests who have done really bad things, and it's not God that's bad. It's not even religion that's bad. It's just human error, because if you separate yourself from that Holy Spirit, like, you can still call yourself religious, but are you connected to love? Are you connected to God? So it's the same with everything in our lives, you know, money, health, anything at all, you know. And that's why, you know, the Bible also talks about making things your idols. Like, are you doing that? Are you making something else more important than God? Are you saying, like, money is more important than God, which I think a lot of us do? Are you saying success is more important than God? Because the truth is, if you connect yourself back to the vine, connect yourself back to love, come back to that, you're going to have so much more success, you know? And I felt totally renewed after spending that time at Mass today and praying and, you know, asking for forgiveness. Because we all sin so much. Like crazy. We're all like, so, we don't understand things and see them the way God does. So it's really important that we connect to God and even laugh about these things, you know, because we're not perfect. And we're all just branches, you know, off this vine, but we want to produce fruit. The joy of producing that fruit is having the things happen in your life that you want to see happen, you know, having things come to life, manifesting, getting to your higher level, your next level, up leveling. I talk about these things a lot, but it's sort of like, this is what's behind it. You know, and I even saw someone actually criticizing women with big boobs and saying like, oh, I guess that's what I need to be successful. And I was like, again, like, why are we attacking feminine energy? You know, it's not evil. You know, it can be if you, again, separate yourself from your spirit and your purpose and God and love, and you're just kind of like putting your tits out there. That could become a problem. You know, it could. But it's not in itself a problem. You know, and so we need to stop separating things. I really recommend that you look at where you're thinking black and white about things, or it's this or that. You know, I like to think of it like God created everything. So again, there's so many examples in the past 2 days. Somebody was talking about the moon and how it's evil to like talk about moon cycles. And I was like, again, like, what are we doing? Like, God created the moon cycles. God created the moon. God, we're all connected. You are connected to the moon. You know, we're all alive because we're all alive with the Spirit of God, you know. And again, if you separate God from your life and say, I'm just going to like worship moon cycles, like that could become a problem, right? You be separated from the source. So I think that's a really important message that I just wanted to give to you, super clear, because I think this is something we tend to do a lot as humans because we're trying to figure things out. You know, we're trying to say this is bad and this is good because we want to feel safe. We want to feel like God approves of us and we're doing the right thing. But the truth is that, again, God is love. So if you're coming at things with fear and criticism, that's not God, right? If you're coming at things with separation and condemning people, that's not God. God is love. So how can we think more in a unified way, a balanced way, you know? And again, I feel like it's the feminine that gets attacked the most, you know, the cycles of nature, the literal boobs, you know, the flow of yoga, the peace and the energy. And even women who work with energy like me, like, you know, in past lives we were condemned as witches. It didn't mean that we were, I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Like, I don't identify myself as, like, I don't call myself a witch or anything, you know. God taught me to work with energy. He created the energy world. He created the philosophies that I work with, of frequency and dissolving negative energy. And it's his genius, you know. It's his energetic laws. Same with nature. You wouldn't go to someone who works with medicine and say, you're evil because you're working with the laws of nature and you're doing experiments, you know. These worlds are really equal, and again, we have to stop separating them. We have to stop saying this is bad and this is okay. You know, if you believe that we're not allowed to do anything and God's going to do everything, then you wouldn't say that even surgery or going to the doctor would be, you know, good to do. You would say that's evil. Like, We need to stop separating everything from God, because when everything's connected to God, you know, it's part of his kingdom. Everything is. Everything that exists is part of his kingdom. And be careful if you're looking at things in a really critical, judgmental way, and separating them from God, who created everything. You know, you don't want to be criticizing these things that God himself made. And look into your heart and start to have more acceptance for the balance in the world, in the universe. You know, there's the energetic and there's the physical, and both are equal, both are beautiful, both are connected to God. And the only way that anything can ever become what we call evil or separated or fearful is through disconnecting it. And that's something that you can either do or not do. So what I recommend is, you know, come back to love. Come back to who you are, which is love. And on purpose, connect to God and ask for a closer connection. You know, because that's going to be a spirit, a presence, and something you can feel that's going to guide you your whole life. And even if sometimes it feels like it's not there, it's always there. You know, you can always come back to it. And I hope that this message helped you. So happy Saturday, and love. Bye.